Hey everybody, how you doing? Tom Barnes here. Stories from the 78. Have you done your holiday shopping yet? It's kind of in the middle of it, right? It kind of snuck up on us this year. It was warm and all of a sudden it's going to be like 3 degrees, 12 feet of snow already happening. The Bear game against the Browns is supposed to be like the high of 9. So, yeah, holidays and December in the Midwest. But I love celebrating Chicago things, Chicago people. That's why this story is a double whammy. You see this years right here. This is a non-alcoholic brew brewed right here in Chicago and Milwaukee at the fine folks, I should say, of Pilot Project. I've interviewed them many times over the years. They have teamed up with another Chicagoan, John Mulaney, who you've seen on all over the place, sold out Wrigley Field. He's having a big year. He's teamed up with these guys, but I thought it'd be fun to talk about this non-A beer for the 2025 holiday season into 2026, because I'm sure everybody will be doing the dry January thing. So this kind of works with it all. I'm going to talk to my friend Dan over at Pilot Project now. Tell me all about the story. Dan, man, what's up?
Hey, I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me on today, John.
Absolutely. I see I'm joining you from the executive office. Is that where you're at there?
This is home. This is home today. I split my time between our Milwaukee facility and our two Chicago spots.
Yeah, I mean, so you just mentioned Milwaukee. You have the OG spot there on Milwaukee Avenue, which
Yep.
and I've been to that one across from the Congress, the forever being renovated Congress Theater.
Let's hope one day it's not forever.
One day, that in the Uptown would be amazing. And then you got
Yes.
a new spot in Wrigleyville. For those who don't know Pilot Project, I think it's such a cool thing. And obviously, it's a working business model. You guys have 3 locations. But if you would just tell the little story of Pilot Project, and then we'll get into years, ding ding for
Yes,
years.
great.
But yeah, we'll go for it. I'll
Happy to.
sample a drink
So
here.
the I should have brought one. The quick story on Pilot is that it's essentially like a recording studio and record label for the beverage industry. I launched it 6 years ago with my best friend Jordan. I grew up in the music industry and saw a lot of parity to the beverage industry, and it's expensive to launch. There are
Mhm.
tons of barriers, there's regulation, there's all these different things. So the premise for Pilot was, hey, if we lower the barriers to entry in this market, in this industry, what's going to happen? Hopefully, a lot of innovation and diversity and all the great things that ultimately came out of it. So yes, we launched 6 years ago, excuse me, our Logan Square spot, which you and I have spent some time together at. And
Yeah.
then in 2022, we acquired a facility in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, big 70,000 square foot full blown production facility with a public tasting room and all that fun stuff too. And then just this year in July, we launched a third outfit, still called Pilot Project in Wrigleyville, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. And you mentioned that you grew up in the music industry. What's that?
So what's the yes, I mean I my
That's
life
broad. That's why I wanted to just narrow it down a little bit.
of course my life is full of cliches. So after getting a degree in both marketing and economics from the University of Wisconsin, I moved to LA to pursue a career playing music.
Good for you, man. You tried it.
I tried. I failed horribly, but hopefully it contributed to some other better things.
What kind of music though?
Well, it was the same thing. Like when you're starting in that industry, you make so little money that I had always played in bands, like in
Mhm.
college and high school and stuff like that. Uh, but I can't split $100 check 5 ways. Like I got to
No,
eat. So
right.
I was a singer songwriter for a couple years, and then ultimately pivoted to the business side of the music industry.
I don't think I knew that about you, and we've talked quite a bit. That's a little fun fact when we do the Trivial Pursuit game later on.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's actually honestly it's a nice transition. I don't have to like cheat the storyline here, but it's a nice transition because it's also where I met my co-founder on years. He's also his background's in the music industry. I used to be at YouTube, was my first like call it leadership role within the music realm, as I used to oversee the emerging artist platform for new artists popping off on the YouTube platform, and that's actually
oh.
yeah.
And you did mention years, and I'll show it again here because this is a fun project with a Chicago product in more ways than one, with the pilot project angle, but also one of Chicago's very own. Why don't you introduce the story of John? And I mean, he just sold out like what, a show at Wrigley Field, which has never happened with a comedian before. The
Yeah.
guy's everywhere now, but why don't you run the full tilt here of what the story is?
I will. Thank you. So the story, again, to kind of connect it with Pilot, is by being a recording studio and record label for the beverage industry, we launch new brands year after year after year. Pilot Project participates kind of as the platform, right? That's
Hmm.
really what a record label does for musicians, for artists. So we are this. We do the same. In this particular instance, with the launch of Years, one of the founders, his name is Pat Corcoran, and I go back almost probably 15 years at this point now to our previous lives in the music industry. He and
Ah,
I have remained friends for a long time. And right when we launched Pilot, he said, "Hey Dan, I really want to launch a brand with you." Quite honestly, everything that Pat touches turns to gold. So I naturally said, "Of course, let's
yeah.
do it. You tell me when."
Uh-huh.
Um, it took some time, some formulation, but like 3 years later, he came back and said, "Okay, now is the time." Pat is sober. He leans heavily into the like non-alcoholic beer space, and he really wanted to launch a Midwestern true beer's beer, but within the non-alcoholic side of the equation.
Hmm.
I jumped at the opportunity. I said, "That's brilliant. Let's do this." We went into the R&D mode, and once we had a product that we liked, we started. There's a third founder too. His name's Noah Armstrong. He's the designer that did the can that you're holding.
Oh,
Um, Thank you. Yep,
you're
puke.
welcome. There you go.
Oh, that's the pills.
Yeah,
Uh,
good times.
we were all trading text messages, just saying like, "Gosh,
Uh,
wouldn't this brand be awesome in the hands of a sober celebrity?" We were already big fans of John's, so when we like started throwing out examples of like who would be, who's the aspirational, who's the dream get, John was the first name that was dropped in the text chain between the three of us. We were trying to figure out a way to get, how could we get in front of him? And then,
mhm.
sure enough, thanks to Pat and my uh, previous life, uh, Pat has a buddy reach out who has just been named the music producer of John's new Netflix show. This is total coincidence.
Oh man.
Reaches out, says, "Hey, can you give me a hand here? I'm thinking about a couple different things." And Pat says, "Yes, of course, but hey, do you mind us sending you this beer, and do you mind getting it in front of John?" So the answer is yes, yes to both.
Hmm.
We send him out the beer, specifically the Pilsner that's in your hand, as well as the Pale Ale. Kevin gives it to John, and we get an email from John in less than a day saying, "Hey guys, I don't just like this, I want it." So we ship
Ah,
him out a pallet just to have at the show because he and the entire staff, they're now drinking it.
wow,
Uh,
that's amazing.
and right around the time I think that the show wrapped for the season is when we like fully engaged in our partnership. We brought him in as a full blown partner in the business, and the rest is history.
Man, oh man. All from somebody handing it to him and going, "You got to try this, man."
Yeah.
And then talk about on the other end, you guys like our wish list. Like if people are like into manifesting, you manifest things by putting it out to the universe, and there it is, answering it right back. I mean, that's kind of speaks to the level of the quality of the beer and what pilot project is. I feel like in the industry in general, like people who see the name, I would say now probably are like, oh, if it's some pilot project, I'm not gonna, there's no questions. It's gonna be good. It's not gonna be something that we're just gonna throw in the trash. We're gonna take a look at this.
Yeah, no, we definitely had to earn our stripes, but I do feel that we're accomplishing that piece now where, you know, 6 years ago, it may have been a cute idea and people said, "Oh, I hope it works out." Whereas now I feel like we are in a place where if we put our name on it, hopefully it's going to give the product, the brand, the people, a leg up in the grand scheme of the world.
I was
Um, But yeah.
I was listening to John talk about it. I think it was on an Instagram post or something, but he mentioned the fact that he loves that it just is this proudly Midwest vibe to it, the taste to it, like pulling it out of your cooler in your driveway in the summertime vibe, or on the ice in the winter when you're doing a little ice fishing on one of the lakes up in Wisconsin. You know what I'm saying? Sounds like it's very much that vibe to it.
It is. It's no frills. I mean, it's not, I don't believe in the concept of like an every person's product just because I think we're all so different, but it is meant to be wildly approachable. We're not trying to be fancy. I do think, I mean, everyone that has tried all three has a different favorite. My personal favorite is the pale ale just
Mm.
because I think it's best in class. But regardless of which particular product you like, there like it makes sense. It's a garage beer. It is the after you mow the lawn type of vibe. It is the ice house. Although without having alcohol in it, it does freeze. So keep
Uh-huh.
that. But yeah, no, it's
I
accomplished.
never thought of that till just
Yeah,
now. But
so I learned that the hard way.
oh yeah. Oh
But
shit. You weren't planning.
it's done well that way. And I think that the great thing about the John story too is, I kind of probably put what celebrity is best suited for a non-alcoholic beer brand into Chat GPT, and I imagine it would have spit out John Mulaney. But he
Mhm.
also has a great story. Part of the impetus for us even suggesting John to begin with was Pat and I had seen David Chang does a cooking show,
Mhm.
and David had both John and Nick Kroll on as guests, like while he was cooking and talking. And John starts to lament about how he wanted to invest in Athletic, but Athletic didn't want John as a celebrity investor because of his reputation.
Yeah,
They
sure,
wanted
sure.
just the clean athlete,
Before
and
yeah, yeah.
so John said, "Well, screw that," and here we are. So we launched our own brand.
Which is so Chicago, right? Like so Chicago, Midwest, where you're like, oh, oh, is that what you think of me? Well, screw you. I'm just gonna go and do this other thing and make it better than I ever thought. So um what's the deal though with when it because you guys are in Milwaukee, sorry, it's pilot project in Milwaukee and Chicago, which Milwaukee's in Wisconsin. The
Yes.
Bears play in Chicago. The Pack play
Yes.
up in Green Bay. So is this a Packer beer or is this a Bears beer or is it just a Midwestern beer?
I think it has to be owned as a Midwestern beer. I think it was concepted technically in Chicago, but it is, mass produced at our location in Milwaukee. You made a point at the very beginning of the conversation, which is a challenge from an SEO standpoint. Our Chicago location is on Milwaukee Avenue.
Yeah.
So hopefully, above all else, it's just a good Midwestern beer.
Yeah.
That is definitely the approach that John has taken, and it is
Mhm.
humorous because, again, timestamp the Bears just lost to the Packers last weekend.
We got another game.
What's that?
I said we got another game with them.
I know there's one more. It's all right. But it's like even funny within the walls of pilot project of we have our Monday meeting and half the room is groaning because of the loss and half the room is smiling from ear to ear because of the win. I feel like that's just like the Midwestern way.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
so anyway, it has to be a beer for the Midwest because we're all in it together.
But I love at the very least here, you have the ingredients, and then at the very last of the ingredients, it says, "and Lake Michigan water." So that kind of is very Midwest, and it works. That's how you get away with it. It's Lake Michigan water, man.
Right.
It runs the gamut all the way up through the the upper Great Lakes. So
It's the most democratic water resource in the Midwest. So yes.
for folks that are want to get their hands on this, is this something they have to go to pilot project to get? Is it something they can order online? How does the whole thing work when getting their hands on this for the holiday season?
Great question. So yes, you can buy it online, yearsbeer.com, and it's available. If you buy a full case, it's free shipping. So I know shipping tends to get in the way for a lot of folks.
Yeah.
So absolutely do that. You can pop over to any of the pilot project locations. We're always fully stocked. But then it's also, since our October 1 campaign launch, we are stocking shelves all over both states, Illinois as well as Wisconsin. So very well, you'll be able to see it, I think, within the week at Mariano's,
Oh, wow.
Benny's, Total Wine, um, and then whatever your local liquor store, if they don't have it, just make sure you ask for it, because we have distribution in both states.
Or at the very least, just run over to Pilot Project if
Yeah,
you're
please
anywhere
do.
near the
Please do.
city.
That would
Yeah.
make me the happiest.
Yeah, because you can sit down and have, it's not just a place where you can grab a beer and leave. You can sit down
Right.
there and relax, get something to eat. You can hang out in the little front area there where people can, hop on a computer and do your thing. It's a cool place. If people have never been to the original Pilot Project location right there on Milwaukee Avenue in Logan, that's fantastic. And the newer one across from Wrigley Field. And I haven't been up to the Milwaukee location, but you said, is that more of a production facility with like a little tap room, or what's that one like?
It's still, I mean, it's still a massive tasting room. I think the restaurant there is probably 12,000 square feet. We had like
Oh, yeah.
2,000 people there over the weekend.
Wow.
So it's a big
Milwaukee.
space. But yes, it's also still where we do all of the true scale. When you launch a product in a little brew pub like our Logan Square spot, that amount of beer can really only support a couple draft lines in the grand scheme of things. So we had to scale it up quickly. Yeah, please do stand by, come check us out. Come saddle up to the bar. You can also make the joke, I've been at this bar for 3 years, and our bartenders will get the joke. That's become a fast one, or a popular one. And yeah, and just sort of relishing the whole experience.
Yeah, and not to talk about other products you have at Pilot Project, but you don't just have years. The whole idea of Pilot Project, at least the original location when I went there for the first time, was to be able to sample other beers that are just getting up and running as well. So for sure, go and check out Years. But while you're waiting them to get your packaged goods in a case, you might want to sample a different drink when you're at the bar from one of the, how many are at the one in Chicago location on Milwaukee? Like how many do you have on tap at once?
So we have 24 different draft lines, but then we also sell basically everything that we have that's not on draft in a can. So at any given point, there's probably 40 different products to choose from.
Yeah, you could be there all day.
Yeah, we've launched 23 brands to date. The whole gamut, right? So it's full bar. So it's beer, wine, spirits, and we've launched brands across the entire spectrum too. So
That's awesome that it's also in the Midwest. Midwest has been kind of synonymous with like beer and brewing, all from St. Louis through Chicago up to Milwaukee, over the years. So very cool that this is happening in Chicago and Milwaukee, but you guys were first in Chicago, so I'm gonna say that. Oh man, I had one other thing I wanted to mention with Pilot Project, but I lost my place because I wanted to name that terrible joke I had about Chicago. So either way, people can buy it. That's the fantastic part, online, or they can come into Pilot Project. So Dan, thank you so much for taking time to chat with me. A fun story indeed about just a product that started with a wish list, if you will, that launched into something like this. It kind of speaks to the level of what you guys do, and when relationships come together and do something great.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Tom. Thank you for the love and for the support on Years, and for anyone else too. Like we said, yearsbeer.com. If you want to buy it, come check it out at Pilot Project, at Pilot Project Brewing, or if you're in Wisconsin, at Pilot Project MKE on Instagram. And until next time.
Awesome.